Hello, hi there, welcome. Welcome to today's third session of Gain Creative Confidence with Psychologies magazine. So please pop on in, say hello, hi, how are you all doing? It's quite grey today, so apologies for the light, it's not the best light today. Hi there, how are you doing? Nice to see you all. What you all up to on this Monday morning, other than watching me, of course. Hope you're all well. Okay, right, let's begin. Hi, Anna. Okay, so today is the third Gain Creative Confidence session that we've been doing over the past few Mondays, and it's been going really well. Lots of you have been sending your artwork in or writing that you've been doing, so it's been fabulous. Really enjoyed reading those. And it's great to see you all doing them in different ways as well. So I've been sharing them, and we've been sharing them on Psychologies as well. So that's good. Just a quick note about this month's edition is out now. And if you're wanting this delivered to your door like I do, and I love popping it into my letterbox every month, please head to the bio where the latest offer is on there. So have a look, and it's all explained there. So today, for those who haven't joined before, I'm a writer, a blogger, an artist, a photographer. I hold accountability groups and I do writing workshops too. And basically, these sessions are all about encouraging you to become more creative, because we believe by doing that you will gain more contentment in your life, have a more interesting life, and just get into that flow state that we all kind of know and love, that really helps us relax during these bizarre times. So that's what it's all about. Over the last few weeks, we've talked about inspiration. The last two sessions have talked about those, and if you've missed those, by all means pop back on the feed and you'll see those on there. And we've talked about connecting to personal memories, things that we have connections with, items that we have connections with. We've looked at resources, and we've looked at honing your observation skills, and also joining groups and going on adventures, having adventures for inspiration as well. So that's what we've covered over the last few weeks. Today is going to be all about resourcefulness, which to me, in essence, means problem solving. So we're going to be looking at resourcefulness in art today. So I'm going to release your inner artist and use anything and everything in order to do that. So hopefully you'll find this interesting. But I'm just aware that in these times we haven't got loads of money to spend on art materials. I'm sure it's not at the top of our list at the moment in these bizarre times where, some are really struggling. But that doesn't mean to say we can't do it. We've just got to be a bit more resourceful about it and think outside the box. So I'm going to keep glancing at my notes because I have made lots today, just in case you're wondering what I'm doing. But in essence, art is about making marks. That's what it's about. It's about creating different marks on a page that either create a picture or something abstract or something completely different with like multimedia. So I'm going to talk to you about experimenting and having a play. This is what today's session is all about. It's letting go of that control, which I know some people know and love, and just playing with different materials. And even if you've been doing art for a long time, this can be a really good exercise, because quite often we get into a certain style and feel very comfortable with that, and it may feel more difficult to just kind of step out that and try something new. So this is what this is all about. Hi everybody, it's coming in, hello. So the three things that you essentially need to make a piece of art are background, a paint and a colour, or a colour, should I say, and tools to make that image with. So those are the three kind of key things that you need to make a very basic piece of art. So what we're going to experiment with is how we can find different materials in each of these areas to create a different kind of picture that's not traditional, that's not using normal artistic materials. So it really is thinking out of the box, and it's a really fun exercise to do, especially with the kids. I don't know about you, but I'm struggling to find things to entertain them with now we're however many weeks into lockdown, I can't even remember. And obviously coming up to the summer holidays, we've got 7 weeks now, another 7 weeks to keep them entertained. So this can really help with them as well, getting them involved. So when I'm talking about background, obviously we usually use paper or artist materials or canvases, things like that. We don't use other things, but what I'm encouraging you to do is to do that today. So I want you to look for things that are around the house, unusual items that might give different textures, different feel. So an example of this is, just a basic piece of polystyrene that I found in some packaging. So you could quite easily paint over that, and it's got a real kind of bumpy texture, so that would be a quite nice one to use. I've also used little bits of paper before, so you can do this with either like gift wrap or newspaper, music sheets, wallpaper. There's a whole load of different kind of patterned or textured things that you can use as a background that make really nice effects. So for example, I last year when we were doing the art exhibition, I wanted to try something new. So I got these bits of paper actually. This is cheating a little bit. These are from the range and are just all different kind of patterned bits of paper that you can use. And I just use these to stick onto a background of paper at the time and then do a piece of art over it. So if you can see that, this is the kind of background paper that I think I crimped at the time, and then drew a piece of art over the top of that, and it just gives it a really nice effect and kind of frames what you're trying to do. Other things that you could use are things like pieces of old clothing, so like denims, quite textured, that'd be a good one to do, and cotton. Newspaper we've talked about, book pages, that's another one, if you've got old books, although I feel a bit guilty kind of ripping books up, but if you've got really old ones that you don't mind, then they give a really nice kind of depth to a picture. Old music sheets work really well. I think they're really nice to do. I've got a friend who's recently used some Japanese writing as well to create a bird, like a paper mache bird, and again that looks really, really good. Wood is another one. Old furniture, if you're into upcycling, that's a perfect one to use to have a go at doing something different with. Rocks as well. I don't know about you, but when I've been on my walks recently, I've seen a lot of pebbles outside that have got little paintings on, that have little messages on, that a lot of children are leaving for others to collect around the woods, so that would be a good thing to have a go at doing some art on. Leaves as well, so yeah, I've become a big fan of leaves, although I've not had a go myself, but I'm going to. If you look up the hashtag leaf art, there are some really cool examples of this. And you can use a leaf and do like paper cutting around the spines of the leaf to kind of keep that leaf shape, but then almost, it's almost like silhouette art, I guess, where you cut something out and it creates an image like a face or something like that. I've also seen ones where they've done really minimal, tiny little pictures and scenes painted onto the art, which looks really good. Hi, everybody coming in. And, they're amazing. They're tiny little works of art, but they're absolutely gorgeous. So they're a really good one to try as well. Just to give you an example of what my son's been doing recently, so he's really into hydro dipping. For any of those who don't know what hydro dipping is, it's where you fill a big kind of vat of water, so it might be like an old play box or something, a plastic play box, where you fill full of water and then you spray paints into it in different, just kind of randomly in there, and then you dip things into that, and the whatever you dip in, the plastic of the spray paint is attracted to and clings to the item that you pull out. So an example of this is what my son's done recently. So this is his bike helmet, which has created a really cool effect as he's pulled that out and dipped it, and he keeps doing this with everything. Nothing is safe in this house at the moment, but he's absolutely loving doing that, and that's kind of like his little summer project. He's even created a little business out of it now, selling to his friends and offering them the chance to hydro dip their stuff, so like phone cases, pencil cases, water bottles, things like that, and it looks really good, so he's loving doing that. So that's some examples of the background kind of stuff. Then we move on to what is probably the trickiest, which is the kind of paint or colour effects. So this is where you really have to think outside the box and think of what else you could use as that kind of liquid to create an image with. So there's things like, I've seen things like tea staining done. So literally like create a normal cup of tea, let it go cold, and use that as paint, or scrunch tea bags up into paper and things like that. There's fruit juices, or squished up fruit, like or olives, things like that, to get a really good black colour. There's more kind of textured things, so like eggshells and seeds and cotton wool balls. I suppose you could use them, you could stick them on. There's things like using tester pots. So if you've got old tester pots around the house, yes, it's paint, but at least it's, something that you can use up and use that to recycle with. And if you created a picture using some of the paints that you might have used on a wall in your living room, for example, if you use those colours again in a picture, that really ties in with the colour theme of that room. So that's a great one to try if you're wanting to create some bespoke artwork for your own interiors. There's another thing that I've seen recently, again by a friend called Sam Jackman, who's been using iron water. So I think this is like rusty water, and if you use leaves and dip them in and then pop them on vinegar soaked paper and squash them down, it creates kind of like a really rust effect print of the leaf. So, really out of the box there. I'd never heard of that until she showed me, and it looks really, really effective. So that's a good thing to try. And another thing would be like you could use normal paint but give that a different effect. So if you used watercolour, for example, if you then sprinkle that with salt, and I'll show you an example of this because we did this at Art Club once. So we did some experiments with different types of effects on paint. So this is the salt kind of effect one. And what it does, the salt absorbs the paint, so that's why it creates this kind of almost like kind of flowery effect, really. And then there's other things like using cling film. So I don't know if you can see here, it's not the best version of this. I've done it since and it's a lot better. But if you paint a piece of paper, then put cling film over it and move it around a bit so that you create some wrinkles, and then leave that to dry and eventually take that off, it leaves those kind of marks in there, which looks really good for... Hi Wendy. Thanks for popping in. So it leaves a really good effect for like earth or fields, almost like the kind of segregation of fields, if you see what I mean. So that's a really good example. Another one also on that bit, if you look at this bit here, that is just using straws. So you put your paint on there and just blow that in different directions. So that's another one. And then this here, the spider effect, is purely by masking fluid. So you can use some paint, or in fact no, you do it the other way around, sorry. So you paint with the masking fluid, almost in effect whatever shape you're wanting to do, let that dry, and then if you paint around those pieces of masking fluid, that it dries into almost like a bit like glue, really, kind of a sticky glue. If you paint around that and then later when they're all dry peel that off, that's the kind of effect that it leaves with the white background there. And you can do all kinds of things with that. It's a really useful tool. I use masking fluid a lot. So that's some other examples. And then when it comes to tools, so this is where probably my favourite bit, to be honest, is using different things to create different effects rather than a paintbrush. So Pippa Ashworth, who we were lucky enough to get at our art group, she kind of comes every year. She comes with an army of things that she uses almost as a paintbrush or a pencil to make those different marks across the page. So it can be anything from like thistle heads to grasses to sponges, all different kinds of things, and it's great. She just brings it all and you go and have a play with it, and that's what I encourage you to do, really, is go out and find those different things that can create those different marks. So even daft things like washing liquid dispensers. So if you see really closely on there's some like little bobbles there, and there's almost like a flower picture on the inside there. If you paint those and press those down, you've got a different mark, a different kind of texture to play with. So those are the kinds of things I'm talking about. Another, I get really excited when we get deliveries, not just for what's in there, but the packaging, which is a bit weird. But when you're used to doing this stuff, it gets quite exciting. So I ordered some things from IKEA last week, and the bowls came in a mass array of this stuff. It's almost like honeycomb paper if you stretch it out there. So I know that I'll be able to use this in some way, shape or form with my art, whether it's painting that and printing it on or sticking it on and painting over it. That I know that that's going to give a really nice texture for something that I'll have a go with. Another really key one is bubble wrap. So I absolutely love using bubble wrap. If you paint over the top of this and then print it down, obviously it creates that kind of circle effect, which can be really good for like walls. So you can create walls with it, or things on the, you might find on a beach. It's just a really nice pattern that I love to use, and obviously we get a lot of this in all the packages that we've been sent recently, so why not make the most of it? It can, however, sometimes go wrong. So I had a play with these things yesterday, and that's what it's all about. It's about experimenting, it's about playing, and you're gonna find times where it just doesn't work and you think, why did I bother? But you'll get there. So an example of this, I used just grab that as well. I used cocktail sticks. I'm still quite new to acrylics. It's quite a thick paint, so I thought this would work, but it just didn't. So this is an example of what I tried to do. I don't know if you can see in there. So I tried to paint on there and then use cocktail sticks to kind of paint, to take the paint off and create a print. If you look really closely, you can see it. But it didn't give a good enough effect to what I wanted at all. And that's because I think the paint was too thick and it dries too quickly. So I did it kind of in order, so I didn't put all the paint on there first. But it just didn't really work for me, and I was quite disappointed. But this is the point, you carry on. So the next thing I tried was using this paper plane edging. So if you see around here, it's really quite textured around the edge. And when I originally had a go with this, I did it, I'm just trying to think which way, I did it this way. And when I first did it, I didn't like it because it looked like a face to me, and I thought that's a bit weird. It was okay, but didn't fill me with joy. But then tip it the other way up, I think it was that way, and to me it looks a bit more like an eye, and that just made more interest to me. But still, not completely happy with it, but still just having a play, fine, still enjoying myself. And then I got to the third thing, which I've been saving for a while. So I picked some grasses from up the lane a while ago, and I've had them in a display knowing that at some point I'd do something with them. Hello to anybody joining in. And originally I was going to draw them, just do like an ink drawing, but then yesterday, because I'd got some leftover paint from what I'd been dabbling with, I thought, no, I'll have a go at something else. So for any of you that's seen on my Instagram, you may have seen this. But these are essentially grasses that are painted and then printed on using different colours. And I'd recommend, because I got very messy with this, when you lay them down, if you put some kitchen roll on top and really press them down so that they really work. So you get these lovely prints. You can see they're really close. Then I decided to go one step further. This one's got a bit wonky now. But I thought, why not use the grasses that I'd used to print to almost make it a bit more 3D. So I then stuck on these bits of grasses. I don't know if you can see the masking tape at the bottom, sticking them on. This one's gone a bit wonky, so I'm going to have to do something with that and stick it on a bit more. And then some more here and some more colours here. So I experimented with the colour, kept going for like this dark blue and then some green and then some vibrant kind of orange colour. And then I stuck this will be further applied like that because that's what it was meant to be. It's gone a bit wonky. And then I've masked them at the bottom, knowing that when I put them in a frame, this will be upright and it'll look proper. So by the time I got to that point, I'd done the other two, weren't completely happy with them, but carried on, and that's what it's all about, is experimenting with what what you think might work. And then eventually I got to that point and I really loved that picture. So I know that I will be doing some more of those now in different colours, and that's purely by experimenting yesterday. So that's what it's all about, really. It's using these different things. Like I say, Pippa Ashworth is a great example of this as well. So if you look at her work, and at the end of this today, I'm going to finish off my blog, which is all about this. So it'll be posted later on today, and you can have a look on there and see what other things that I've listed and links to the artists that I've talked about as well. The other thing you could use, of course, is fingerprints. If you like getting messy, just use your fingerprints and have a play about with that. You can quite easily create trees and all sorts with fingerprints. So yeah, have a go at that as well. And then if you get, if you're really up to your eyeballs in toilet rolls, have a go at creating a sculpture out of those. It doesn't have to be a flat piece of art. You can go wild and create things with stuff that you've got around the house, boxes, things like that. So have a go and have a play. So I think that covers another great, really easy one is kitchen roll. Quite often kitchen roll's textured. Mine are sort of like in lines and kind of checks at the moment. So you can paint something on a page and then put that over the top and peel that off, and that creates a really good effect as well. So there's all these kind of different things. Feathers is another one, bark, absolutely loads of different stuff that you could do. So my challenge to you today, the task, is to have a go at this, and you can either do 3 pieces of art or you can do one that combines them all. So you can either have a go at one with a different background, so that's where I talked about at the beginning about using different things like polystyrene and wood, glass even. You could even use glass. I've just thought of that now, forgot about that. So there's various different backgrounds you can use. Have a go at doing something with that. The second one will be to use a different kind of paint or paint effect. That's where we talked about possibly tea. Thank you, Rachel. Yes, it is. It does. It gives you experiment to play. So Rachel says some great ideas, especially for those who are not naturally arty. Yes, exactly. So, again, it can just be creating a pattern. It's just playing. And then you might go back and do something different with that later. So you might create your background pattern and then go over it later or do some ink over that later. It's all about just having a go. So then, so we talked about using different kinds of paint or paint effects. So that's where you either use normal paint and you put things on the top like cling film or bubble wrap or the packaging that I got, and to create that different kind of effect. Or you can actually use different liquids. So that's, fruit teas, fruit juices, any kind of thing like that, or more solid things to create more of a kind of 3D picture, so like seeds or salt or sand, things like that, shells even, you could use shells. So that's a few ideas for the paint side of things. And then the third option is to make different marks using different tools. So that's where we talked about the grasses, the toothbrushes, thistle heads, I'm trying to think of all the ones I said now. Yeah, kitchen roll, things like that. So it's about using those different marks, using a different form of tool, really. So you can have a go at doing them individually, which would be great, having a go at doing 3 pictures if you feel up to that. Or if you're short on time or just want to combine it all, then you could do a picture with all these things encompassed within them. So that would be really great, and I'm going to be really excited to see what you come up with. I hope you have a lot of fun with it. What I would like to do as well is you to just notice how you feel doing this stuff. So I spoke about, when I first did that first picture, it was quite disappointing, but I still had a good time. I was playing. And then the second time, a little bit better, but still not quite right. And then the third time I got there. But in all of this, it doesn't lower the joy of doing it in the first place. It's all about the process, and it's also about practice makes progress not perfect, as we know from the first episode. So I hope that gives you lots of things to work with. I'd love to know what you're going to try, or if you've got any questions, please ask now, or any comments, start popping on now, and I'll answer them. And just notice how you felt if things didn't go your way. Were you disappointed, or did you still enjoy it? How did it make you feel just having that kind of permission to play? So, I know a lot of you... Oh, thank you. Maps of Joy says it's a real therapy, and that it's true. That is exactly what it is, especially, in these times where we're here, there and everywhere doing everything for everybody else. Having half an hour to yourself to do this stuff can make all the difference. It can be, really good for you, just having that time out and some fun for yourself. But also, like I say, it is a really good one to do with kids as well, so do get them involved if they feel like they want to. So I think that's just about everything. What what I would like, obviously, I'm going to pop on the blog all this stuff as well, so that'll be released later on this afternoon. So if you do want to have a look at how these other artists have a go at this, then please have a look, because, you know, there's some really amazing examples out there. Have a look at that hashtag leaf art. I tried to find one that I particularly follow, but I couldn't find her. So if you just have a look on that hashtag leaf art, that's a really good source of inspiration as well. So yeah, I think that's about it. Obviously, I have loads more kind of tips and things on the website. If you have a look under the Curious Cave on the Curious Creative Club, there's all kinds of resources there as well, and it'll be on the blog this task too. So please go and have a play, share away as well. So if you want to share it with me, you can either DM me on Instagram, or you can pop it on my Facebook page, the Curious Creative Club, or you can pop it on Psychologies Connected Communities as well, where we're tending to kind of starting to a community there where we are sharing our work, which is really nice, and there's been some really great things popped on there lately. So thank you very much for sharing those, but you know, you don't have to share. If you'd rather just play at this point, that's absolutely fine as well. So I think that's it for now. I hope you have a lovely day, and happy experimenting, happy playing, and I will see you next Monday for more of this. Okay, see you later guys, have a great week, enjoy playing. Bye!